All right, we left off last video with UIKit properly communicating with our coordinator. Now we're going to take that information from our coordinator and pass it to our scanner view. So to do that, we're going to use state variables and bindings. This is where it may get a little familiar. This is now kind of the stuff we've done already, but it's always good to review and for you to see the whole process. Now at first, we're going to do this all in the barcode scanner view, but really this type of stuff, should be in the view model. We're going to implement that later, but I want to walk you through this way and then refactor. I think you'll get a better understanding that way. So we need a variable here, right? Or state private var called scanned code, right? This is what it is, and it is a string. And actually, let's just initialize it with an empty string. So what you'll notice, if I just left it like that, and this is kind of a quirk, which not a quirk, I guess this is how it's designed, but if I just leave it there, now when I create a barcode scanner view, I have to pass in a value for scan code, like when I initialize it, like here in our app, right? I would have to pass in some value for scan code. So if you give it a default value, you don't have to initialize it with one. And in our case, the empty string is fine. You'll see how we check against that. So let's work on the barcode part first, because the error is a little more complex because we're setting up like our error alert structure. So let's just keep this simple with the scan code first. So again, to review state variables real quick, basically state, whenever scan code changes, the view will get updated, right? So instead of our text saying not yet scanned, we want that to be based on the scan code. So we can say scanned code dot is empty. So all strings have this is empty Boolean to check to see if it's an empty string, which ours is right now. So if is empty is true, we're going to say not yet scanned, right? And if is empty is false, we're going to say scanned code. And similarly, in the foreground color, we can do scanned code dot is empty. If it is empty, we want it to be .red. If it's not empty, we want it to be .green, right? We want not yet scanned to be in red, and when we scan a code successfully, we want that number to be in green. And again, I'm kind of spelling things out the long way. We're going to refactor this better in the view model later, but I think spelling it out like this, again, is easier to understand. Okay, so now that our UI is going to update, whenever scan code changes, and it's going to update properly, we need to basically change our scan code. And we want to change our scan code whenever we scan it, right? But right now, our barcode scanner view doesn't have a way to get that information, right? Because our coordinator has that information, but our UI here, our bar scanner view, doesn't. So in our scanner view, we want to create a binding to scan code, right? Remember what a binding is whenever we change that binding in the scanner view, it will update the one here in our barcode scanner view. I know those are similarly named. Maybe we should have been better about that. So anyway, in the scanner view, right, we want to create a binding at binding var, and this is scanned code, and that is a string. So do Command B to make sure we get it here. Okay, build failed. Oh yeah, we don't have a parameter, right? So here, right in our barcode scanner view, now that we put that binding there, we need to initialize our scanner view with a scan code, and that is going to be a binding to this scanned code up here. Remember, that's what that $sign is. A $sign is how you make those bindings. So again, whenever we change this scan code variable in our scanner view, it's bound to this scan code, and that's going to update. And then when this updates, our view is going to get redrawn and update accordingly based on our ternary operators here, when we have a scan code and when we don't. Okay, so if I do Command B, that error should go away. We're still not done. Why? Because these previews on our scanner view, remember I told you previews are always going to get you. And again, for bindings, this is just for your previews, you can do .constant, and then you give it a value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's kind of like our random barcode view. But that's again, just to get the preview initializer done. So now we have a binding to scan code. So here in our scanner view, we just need to update the scan code, and that'll trigger all of our changes. So you may think, cool, well, in my delegate method where I get the barcode, right, did find I have a barcode, why don't I just do scanned code equals barcode? Cool, good to go. Wrong. Now remember, like I said, our coordinator needs to pass information to our scanner view. But right now, if you look at our final class, it doesn't know about our scanner view. It doesn't know, there's no connection there. So what we can do here is private let scanner view, and that is of type scanner view, right? So we're giving it a property of a scanner view so we can make that connection. Okay, getting a bunch of errors, that's fine. Let's comment this out to avoid confusion. We'll come back to you later. What this is saying is now we can't initialize a coordinator with nothing, right? Because we have to give scanner view a value. So what we do here is coordinator scanner view, right? And that takes the type of scanner view, but we can pass in self, right? Because on here, self is the scanner view, right? So this scanner view, when we create our coordinator, we're saying that, hey, I am your scanner view, essentially. And I forgot the initializer. Sorry for the confusion there. So we can do init, and then it initializes with the scanner view, and that scanner view is of type scanner view. And this is just like a normal UIKit type initializer. So you would do self.scanner view equals scanner view. And again, to explain this real quick, when we initialize it, whatever scanner view we pass in here, we're going to set that equal to our self.scanner view, which again is this scanner view up here. I know I said scanner view 1,000 times there. Do Command B, we should be good to go. So again, when we create our coordinator in Make Coordinator, we're passing in self as the scanner view, which again is the scanner view. And then here we're setting that scanner view equal to that. So that is how we made the connection between our coordinator and our scanner view. So now instead of just doing scancode.barcode, we need to do scanner view.scancode.barcode, right? Because our coordinator doesn't have a property called scanned code, right? Our scanner view has a property called scan code. And again, we pass in that scanner view here so we can use it there. And then to finish off this thread, right? So now we're setting the scanner views.scancode equal to barcode when we found it, right? Remember the UIKit component talks to our coordinator, says, hey, I did find a barcode. So this is our coordinator saying, great, I got your barcode. Now let me tell the scanner view what that barcode is. So this is us telling the scanner view what the barcode is. And then here our scanner view, because it has a binding, right? So our scanner code, scan code changes. But this is a binding to our barcode scanner views scan code, right? So when that changes, this is going to change, right? We're just pulling on the thread here. And when this changes, now our UI is going to redraw and update accordingly, right? Because scan code will no longer be empty, ideally, right? We send it a barcode. So now it's going to change to the scan code and the color is going to change to green. In theory, let's test this out. All right, so I'm going to run it on my device, throw up the picture-in-picture so you can see my device. So let's open up Safari here for our example barcodes, and there you go. You can see as it's scanning, let's try and scan like a different one to see the barcode change. Okay, so cool. You can see our numbers changing as I'm scanning different barcodes, right? So nice. Our UI is all connected. As you can see, our numbers are changing. The color is green when we scanned it. And that wraps up the connection between, UIKit to the coordinator to the scanner view. That is coordinators in a nutshell. We're going to go through that process real quick one more time with our error alerts, just to kind of give you practice and drive the point home. And then we're going to refactor in project organization into MVVM and organize our project to finish off this app.